This is going to be video number 1 of our 3-part series. Don't forget, trading is risky. Make sure you understand all those risks before you get involved. This video is going to be focused right here on your first 40 days as you're coming into our program. The next 2 videos in the next 3-part series is going to be those of you who are shifting into the middle 40 days and the final 40 days before you go live. Let's start right here. If you are coming into the first 40 days, the majority of the time here is going to be spent in training. We're going to be learning all of the individual strategies, not necessarily practicing in this section, but the majority of this is going to be learning, and that has to do with taking notes. I really encourage people to take notes like you're going to college, like you are taking a class that you've got to, like your future life depends on the information that's coming through this program. So you need to really digest it, let it sink in, and these are keys, making sure you take those notes. Now, some people say, oh, I don't take very good notes. Notes aren't really my thing. I don't take notes. Listen, I am telling you right now, it is about the act of taking the note that makes it sink into your brain. A lot of people who take good notes, they really know it's not about the note taking or the note style. It is about taking the note itself. I don't care if you can't even hardly read your handwriting or your scribble, but the fact that your brain had to translate it from your brain down to your arm, getting it out to a pen, your thought process of putting that onto paper, or in my suggested method is to take screenshots and post those into Word documents so that they are searchable later. That is my preferred method. But again, up to you how you take those, but make sure that you are digesting it. Everybody learns things a little bit differently, but I can say there is a universal consensus around being able to learn and digest when you take those notes. Learning the rules, write down every single rule that I am telling you as you go through. There's not that many of them, but you do need to know them, particularly around your strategies. Now, let's talk about specifically your strategies. In this set of 40 days, you are going to go through the training videos themselves. There are a few playlists I'm going to show you here in just a moment where you should be to make sure that you are in the proper location. All right, so depending on when you are watching this video, you may be having these in your login section. So go up here to the right-hand side of our website, click on log in there, and you'll have access to the member section, and you'll see that members list of the videos right there listed out there for you. Or if you're coming in right now with us, you'll be over here on, again, we're kind of coming into this transition phase, so I want to make sure this video is there for both. Right now, you want to be right here. Here is the key, lesson library. Go inside this little left-hand menu over here and start at the top of this list, and you will go through our primary order of operations videos, and then scroll down as you go through that list. It looks like Discord's having a few issues here right now, but this will populate out here when you are logged in, and you'll see that top to bottom. And then there are a couple of playlists down there at the bottom. There are 2 of them. One of them is the very first playlist. There's about 90 to, I think, somewhere around 100 videos, exactly 100 right there. And then right underneath that, there is going to be the small account challenge, something you want to pay attention to there. The small account challenge is a scenario where I ran through with starting with a 2.5K account, $2,500. That's the minimum, absolute bare minimum there. Watch through that the entire way through. That was all live streamed with a trading competition against Ross Cameron and Warrior Trading in July 5th through, it was about 4-month contest in 2021. You want to go watch those because, again, I really focused on teaching while I was trading. While I went through that small account challenge, it was worth it to go through that. So make sure you go into that. We've got a whole video series on how I believe you should approach this. So when you get to that section of the videos, you will see how you're actually going to download your own market replay data and literally trade the exact same time that I was trading during that trading competition, so that you can trade side by side with me, thinking through the actual trades themselves, how I get the timing right, how I get the trade setups, how I form my bias right before I'm executing on those. And that's a very important, but that is a final playlist in the lesson library in order. That's very important to note. All right. These are those 2 playlists I was telling you about. There's that important playlist right there, about 100 videos in that one, and there's a small account challenge video right there. Right after that, you're going to want to go and print out one of our 5 trade sheets. That's what this is right here. You can make your own, or you can use ours and just print it. You can open this up and print this out and have that next to you, and that's one of those sheets that you'll learn as you're going through trying to do your 5 trades per session. This is a good handy tool for you, so you'll print that out and get going into your middle 40 days. All right, and one more thing that I want to recap before we get into switching over to your middle 40 days there. In the first 40 days section, I do recommend you go ahead and download, get everything installed. That does get walked through in the first set of 6 videos. Download, install everything, get it ready to go. Although again, most of the first 40 days is about taking those notes. But if you want to watch a video and practice that video, watch a video, practice that video, that I think is a real good way as well to kind of get that locked into your brain. So make sure you've gotten that installed and all set up on your machine and start going through those videos one at a time. Now, if you have watched some of the older videos, some of them will reference having a phone call with me. I did one-on-one calls for a very long time, for around 5 years during our program. We've just got to a level where we can't scale that any further. So the majority of those phone calls are now going to be handled on our Mentorship Mondays. Make sure that you pay attention to those. You can join those any Monday that you wish, but if you would like to get on a call with me, what we do is we just have an open mic night there on Mentorship Mondays. Each Monday evening, we get together again if there's a holiday or some scenario, we might put it back to a Tuesday, but once a week, we're going to have that opportunity again. It's not something we can absolutely hold to, so some weeks may end up skipping depending on what's going on, holidays, etc., and my own schedules. But in general, this is going to be available for you every Monday. You can get on those calls with us to ask questions. Now, don't want you to just save up all your questions for just those phone calls. Again, great place to get most of your questions answered. On the left-hand side, if you are in our Emini main public chat, there are lots of folks in this room here. There's over 35,000 people in our room as of this date that you can ask any of your questions. Just pop those into the chat box there, hit enter. Somebody will answer those questions. You can post screenshots and links and URLs. Most of the time, I would like and prefer for folks to actually send you to a video. But if you get questions as you're going through the videos, I do encourage you to maintain and kind of hold your questions till the end of the videos, because one video tends to lead to the next and teach you the things it will follow up. So if I leave you with a question in one video, it tends to get answered in a subsequent video. So just keep that in mind as you're going through those. While you're going through your notes there, you are going to at some point need to get your broker set up and your platform. Here's a good section on the left-hand side under Getting Started. This is the platform brokerage and brokerage info section. If you have questions around what the margins will be, what type of platform options that you have with NinjaTrader, that's all in this section here. It goes through the free, the lease, the lifetime options and commissions and the recommended brokers that we use. Also the section where you can get your free live data, you can click right there to get your 2-week free data. If you are outside the United States, particularly in Canada, there are separate options there. If NinjaTrader brokerage is not servicing that area, for instance, Canadian folks, you can call this number and get set up with Iron Beam. And all that information is also here in the brokerage section on the left-hand side. So if you have those, as you're getting set up initially, you want to go through this section, make sure you kind of understand what's here. Another item I want to point out on the left-hand side of Discord, there is advice considerations as you're getting started, taking your trading to the next level, wanting to do this seriously. There are a lot of very common sense advice types of things that I've learned along my path. There's some inspirational stuff about looking for your targets as well. And right here, I think this is very important. I did an article on Quora.com where we had done, like, before you get started, what are some of the things that I think a day trader needs to consider before they start trading for a living. And I circled this one. It's a big one there. Starting living beneath your means, and a lot of the other items that you kind of need to go through, in my opinion, as you're starting to get going in your day trading career. If you want to go taking your journey to the next level and doing this full time, things that you want to consider and set up for yourself personally as well. And we can't get away without talking about hardware. If you are in our main chat, there is a command that you can type, !hardware, in our room. And there's a great video right here, getting your hardware all set up. This should be one of the first things that you were talking about. One of the very first videos. I also show you a very inexpensive but very high powered computer that you can go and order if you're inside the United States, or if you're outside the United States, you can order an equivalent of that video there. But setting up your desk is very, very important. People don't put enough emphasis on this. Some people think, oh, I'll just, get a little rinky-dink laptop, I'll set it off on the side of my kitchen table type of thing. Listen, if you're not going to take yourself seriously, the market's not going to take it seriously either. You're just not going to be able to succeed as well as you could if you take it seriously and get yourself set up for success. That starts with a good foundation. I talk about everything from the mouse, the keyboard, the desk size, the monitor size, and what you should be able to visually see. Everything that we're doing here is about visualizing price and being able to execute quickly. And our approach to the markets is approaching the markets like a video game. Very important to get your hardware set up in that first 40 days. If you don't have it set up on day one, that's okay. But by the middle 40 days, you really need to have this desk hardware all set up for yourself. So make sure that you make this a part of your first setup to get your hardware lined up. If you need to buy a new monitor or you need to buy the keyboard and mouse, get that done in the first 40 days. On the note of the hardware sections, on the left-hand side of Discord, there are several. If you just type in hashtag and start typing in hardware, you'll see several of those. So here's the VINNY'S hardware section. If you want to see some of the stuff like how my office is laid out, again, you don't have to do anything crazy. So if you want to seek some inspiration for getting your room set up for success, to have the center screen and a left and a right, although if you have a center screen and a left monitor, that is the absolute bare minimum. But I think that this is a great workspace type of setup when you've got the 3 monitors around. Now, I do recommend that you keep a clean workspace. This one might be a little bit too messy. This is the improper mouse. Okay. This is an interesting setup. Again, there are a lot of configurations. People put stuff in all kinds of different ways. Now that's a nice setup right there. This is a recommended setup, okay? Now, if I were doing this, I would kind of like mine a little evened out. So there are matchups that I talked about in the videos. A 55 pairs well with 32s on either side. If you're doing a 43 inch in the center, then 27s work really nice on the either side that are going to be perfectly laid out. Again, there are, if you have to work within what you already have, that's fine. Do what you need to do, but you can see this is very common to set this up. I really like the 55 in the center, the 32s flanked. And let me see if I can find one of those in here. While we're scrolling through these, this is the absolute bare minimum to have the big center screen that allows you to have 4 of the instruments here with the left panel off to the side so that you can see the higher time frames and room for our Discord channel chat so that you have access to the newsroom as well as the MacV Ultimate that posts through our room. Let me see if I can find one of these here real quick with the 55 and the left side, right side. Here's one right here, QETrader, perfect. Look at that, just absolutely beautiful. Almost fits to the bottom. I think somebody did... This one's pretty close, but yeah, look at, I like this whole layout here where they just match edge to edge. Very, very clean, nice looking setup right here. Good spacing on the desk, nice and clean, looks awesome. It's got his 5 trade set up right there for his 5 trade tracker there. That is one of those fancy ones that he bought from Millionaire. Looks really awesome right there. You guys can go and get some of that gear on algoboxgear.com. And there's another site here some of our members have posted. If you are interested in any of the gear that you see in any of these rooms, just post a question into the public chat and someone can get that answered for you. But again, you'll scroll through here and get inspired by a lot of different setups. You'll see, things that work well, things that won't work well, and you just need to make sure that it works well for you. I like this one there. Again, another one this is the absolute bare minimum setup, but this gets you by. Nice clean workspace, got everything set up right there. Got his 5 trade paper there to execute on. All that's looking real good. So make sure you get your hardware set up, and that's one of the first things you need to do in, well, not necessarily the first things, but in your first 40 days you will need to get this set up so that you can start practicing on the hardware. You don't want to have to make a big shift in the middle. Some people are like, oh, I'll change it and I'll get something new right when I go to my final 40 days phase before I go live. That is a mistake. Whatever you're practicing on, there is a muscle memory thing that occurs. You need to make sure that your muscle memory is exactly what you're already going to have set up when you are going live. You don't want to throw away all that practice by going to a brand new setup after you've practiced and practiced and practiced on one thing, and then all of a sudden you switch. It's a whole new animal again, and you've lost that ability to really use that muscle memory to your advantage. Oh, it's a beautiful layout right there. All right, and send to yourself if you want to order the video, the computer that I kind of recommend. If you're looking for a brand new computer, that video is going to be right there for you. So now let's move on over to showcasing the education section inside of Discord. Right here, if you scroll down on the left, you'll see the education section. You'll see a lot of the names of our strategies sitting right over there on the left-hand side. Again, picture's worth 1,000 words. Each one of these, there's a lot of screenshots of setups. Let's take a peek here. We'll just hop into a diamond dot room here, and you'll have everything from myself and other members posting these. You'll see right here, there's a diamond dot. We've got the diamond setup. There's a dot at the top. Nice little short down for the diamond dot play. You'll see these. Some of these are going to be GIF images where they are actually moving. Here's another one, big gigantic diamond into a dot formation, taking it to the long side. You'll learn these strategies as you go. Another one, this was the HMD. Technically, it is a Harmonic dot, but this one particularly is a diamond dot. So there's a diamond, there's our dot. Nice, big, huge move up there. These are the setups that you're looking for the diamond dot. You'll be able to see this on each different type. You'll see double dot plays. Let's go into one where we can see some movement. All right, so over here, if we're going into our strategy HMD, the Harmonic dot, here is Taylor posting in some images. You can see these moving, and let's go ahead and zoom one in. There's a nice HMD over there on the right. Boom, pushing up into targets filled. Very, very nice. You can see those in action. Quite a few of those. And again, there are everything from, static pictures like this one, nice little HMD to the short side there. And there's ones where we've got Giphies. Here's some that are labeled up like this. So again, some things can just kind of lock these into your brain. If you have any questions around them, you can go see live examples of these types of trade play setups. This one's a power HMD, blue dot right there, gives it the extra power inside of that box. Great little play set up there. Again, picture's worth 1,000 words. Really, really can be helpful to go through these and just lock them into your brain, knowing what types of setups that you're looking for. Super helpful, as well as doing a lot of market replay to go ahead and experience those yourself as well. But this, if you prefer this type of study where you can go and look at screenshots, you can save them as your own. So while we are in here talking about the various strategies that we have, you'll notice we have, quite a few. There's about 13, maybe to 15 or so primary entry strategies. What you want to do in that first 40 days, here is one one of the keys to that first 40. I want you to choose 3 or 4 strategies. Now, if you want more than that, that's fine, but 3 or 4 to, we don't want to bite off more than we can chew. Here, start with 3 or 4 strategies and just master those 3 or 4. Make certain that you know 3 or 4 strategies. Now, you might want to ask, well, why can't I be just a one-trick pony, Vinny? Why can't I just learn one and just become a master at that one strategy? The market shift and change. I recommend that you choose 3 or 4 because you'll get that diversification of strategies. Diversify your strategy entries to allow yourself the opportunity to trade in different market conditions. When your setup shows up, you will be able to execute well on it because you have practiced it. Be thinking about which 3 or 4 do you really, really like. Write them down. Those are going to be yours. And we're going to take those into the next set of 40 days. This is why it's important. I want you to learn all of the strategies. You still need to know about them because sometimes when your 3 or 4 that you're going to have written down, maybe there's one that you didn't. Let's say that example of a J hook. If a J hook is not one of your 3 or 4, but you remember the video from the J hook, you know the rules, you've got the notes on them, so you kind of generally know about the J hook. If you have a J hook working with your setup, like let's say that you are a headshot player and you have a J hook that's long and you just got a headshot long, you need to know whether that is working for you or against you to enhance or detract from your current position. So I do recommend you're still going to need to know all the strategies, but make sure that you're locking in on your 3 or 4. And everything that we're doing here is about building confluence, about having combinations of the setups themselves. And those are going to be some of your most powerful plays when they work together. So you do need to know them all. Take those good notes. Make sure you've got your 3 or 4 before you're ready to go. And in that next set of 40 days, make sure you've got your hardware ready to go. And then you are going to be on your way. Can't wait to see you in the middle 40 days. Watch the next video. This one concludes part 1. If you have any questions on what you need to do in your first 40 days, feel free to ask those in the public chat, but I believe I've covered everything here in this video, and I will catch you guys in the next one.